Hello, welcome to Card Talk. I'm Brobner89.
I'm Chaka.
This week we will be taking a look at Shadows in Dark Tidings. It seems like this set, Shadows, is taking a step back from their traditional role of massive unconditional stealing, and there's a bit more tricky to execute stealing in this set, and some roundabout stealing that involves you capturing your opponent's amber onto their creatures. So not as outright powerful, but definitely still some neat and fun things you're going to be able to do with Shadows in this set. The first set of cards we're going to be taking a look at this week is going to be Hobnobber and the Evil Twin. So starting off with the classic Hobnobber, this is a 3-power, 0-armor elf thief. It has an action. If your opponent has 6 or more, steal 2. Off the bat, Hobnobber reminds me of Ronnie Wrist Clocks. Not going to be as impactful immediately upon entering play, but it is repeatable. If it can stick around, it could make a big swing in amber for you over time.
I think this card is going to be challenging to use.
Yeah.
If I see a Hobnobber on your side of the field, I'm not going to go to 6 until I can address it. Any amber I gain is going to be taken, most likely.
Right.
Unless I want to force you into a Shadows turn or something. But even then, I'm not really forcing you, because if you had a better turn, you might just take it anyway.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah, cards that depend a lot on what your opponent is doing can be really difficult to trigger if your opponent plays around it well. That said, you are creating a distraction. Like, essentially, you have a miasma in place on a creature until it gets addressed.
Yeah, that's true. And there is an upgrade in Shadows, Ransom, which reads, this creature cannot be used and gains at the start of your turn, you may give your opponent 2 amber if you do destroy Ransom. So you can force your opponent to have enough that you'll be able to steal it, but that's a pretty long walk to get there, and you'd probably rather play your Ransom on an opponent creature than use it on your own creature so that you can maybe set up Hobnobber to steal 2. 9 times out of 10, you'd rather see a Ronnie in your deck than Hobnobber, and Ronnie is not back in this set. So,
and Hobnobber, it's not even a stop. It has to be on the field before you can activate the effect. Mm-hmm. There are a few ways to give your opponent amber. Saurian and Exalting is a great way if you can somehow exalt your own creatures and destroy them in a Shadows turn. Francis the Economist can give your opponent amber. Finch Cloak can do it. Let's say you captured amber somehow onto Shadows creatures. You could blow those creatures up and then trigger the steal 2. It requires a lot of support, I think. In a vacuum, this card isn't that threatening to me, because I'll just make sure I destroy it before I go to 6, or I'll prioritize setting up my board or doing something else, and then eventually I'll get around to getting rid of the Hobnobber. So I think in terms of amber generation, this card isn't going to be doing much. It's just an impediment for me to forge. And also, if you only have 1, I could go to 8 and forge anyway, when I'm ready to move. So I think this card is not great.
Yeah, absolutely. It requires support, like you said, and it's really slow. Oftentimes, it's just going to be a 3-power body that you reap with.
Yeah. It at least represents a threat. Like, it does have to be addressed before your opponent could go to check. That's nice.
True. You might not feel like it's doing much, but it is making your opponent's play choices a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing here is it's common, so you might see multiples of these, and I think that's no good.
Oh, yeah. 2 in a deck. What, are you going to wait till your opponent gets to 10? Or I guess 9. But still, not great.
Yeah, it's an additional stall, but stalling and not advancing your own game state is not that strong.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to the Evil Twin of Hobnobber. Same power, 3-power, Elf Thief. Omni, if your opponent has exactly 1, steal it. I like this one more than the original because this won't take your opponent off key. However, it being an Omni effect means they have to go out of their way to not end their turn with 1 amber, especially if you play Hobnobber on the first turn, then your opponent could be pressed to try to play around it, or like they have to discard their pips or something like that. So it's a little bit annoying. This is another card you don't want in multiples necessarily, because they need to have exactly one. This does work well. Yeah, you can't trigger multiple of them in one turn unless you're doing like a Francis chain and you steal the one and then you give them one and then you steal it again. And
again, would require a lot of support to get there.
Right. So I don't think this card is that good either. However, compared to the original, well, thinking about it more, at least the original one makes your opponent not go to check.
Yeah, it's the threat, right?
Yeah. I can't decide which one I like less, but I don't like either of them.
Not stoked about either one for sure. I do like that it's Omni, right? I wish the other one was Omni. I don't feel like that would be too powerful. Still going to be 9 times out of 10, it's just a 3 power creature you're going to reap with.
Yeah. There's a card in Shadows in this set that when the tide is high, you reap steal 1, which is just so much better than Hobnobber.
Yes.
So,
all right, well, that has been our look at Hobnobber and the Evil Twin. We always like to throw in a couple of mediocre cards here on Cull the Weak. If you think we're wrong, if you think Hobnobber is incredible, let us know. As of recording, I still have not played Dark Tidings, so, maybe I'm completely wrong about Hobnobber. Check back tomorrow for another look at another card.